The proven benefits of what I'm talking about today are going to blow your socks off. Hi, my name's Christine L. Conroy. Welcome to Happy Stuff and Fluff. Yes, and although this isn't a cure-all, as it were, if you think you know everything there is to know about journaling, think again. Let me tell you why. Today I'm talking about expressive writing as a journaling method. Now, it was... I remember in 1986, I think we go as far back as 1986, with a chap called James W. Pennebaker, and he's the guy who really formatted this method of writing and did all the research. However, since then, there has been so much research done on this method, and more proven benefits from research that's been done are coming to the fore. So I wanted to talk about it today. Now, I've talked about journaling before on this channel. I've also talked about the two most beneficial methods for me are morning pages, which were from Julia Cameron, and EBGB writing, which came from me, really. I've talked about them before. I'll talk about them again if you like. Let me know in the comments box, because both of those are short little exercises that you can do from a journaling point of view that are incredibly beneficial. However, today I'm talking about expressive writing, and as I say, originated by James Pennebaker, but lots of people have added to the research. What I'm going to be asking you to do is, if you have any kind of traumatic experience in the past that keeps coming back to you and you know you're not yet over, as it were, then this is going to help. But when I talk about therapeutic writing, I mean that in a general sense, because this will help you even if, I don't mean even if, but you know, if you have any kind of major stresses or strains in your life, you know, things, relationship issues or things that are happening at work or possible future events that you're worried about, anything really that is causing you a big, you know, that's personal to you and causing you a concern, this method of journaling will help. So please don't lose sight of that, even though I may be talking about traumatic experiences. It will help. Most people, I think, it can help. It certainly helped me. And incidentally, all of the processes that I talk about, especially in terms of journaling, I've done myself. And a caveat here, I do tend to adapt them a little bit to suit me. So I'm going to tell you about this process. You may have heard about it before. It may be slightly different to the way I'm describing it. But as I say, I do these things myself and I kind of tweak them to suit me so that I know I'm going to get the most benefit from this particular thing. So I also suggest you do that too. But if you've never done this before, then I would follow the steps. I'm going to give you step by step so you know exactly what to do. And then if you want to use it again sometime in the future, you know, you can tweak it, because you're going to keep a record of how you feel doing it this time. So I want you to think about something deeply personal to you then that's causing you an issue, a traumatic experience, and I'm going to give you guidelines of what I want you to do. Okay, so think about something then that you know, this, you keep either getting flashbacks or it keeps rearing its ugly head, you know, like the beach ball we've talked about, pushing it down into the sea. It keeps popping up all over the place. Something that's causing that for you, something that's stopping you from living your best life, shall we put it that way. Think about that thing, personal to you. And this is what I want you to do. It's a journaling exercise. So look at these guidelines here. So what I want you to do is to write about this particular event each day for 4 consecutive days, 20 minutes each day. Eventually, you might want to do this again and write for longer or shorter, but this time, write for 20 minutes each day on 4 consecutive days. Now, if you can, write about the same event on each day. If you write for 20 minutes and you're getting to a point where you think, I'm over this, I'm tired of writing about this, that's good. That's a good thing. The next day, write about it from a different perspective. You can write about things from a different perspective. If you really do find that by day 4, you've said all there is to say, then you can write about something else. But in general, if you can write about the same event and kind of write the story of that event, so you're going to write about what happened, who was involved, and then write about your feelings about it. Your absolute deepest emotions, get it all out and write it down on the paper. Write continuously for the 20 minutes, keeping your pen flowing on the paper. Now then, I say pen and paper because I find that far more effective. There's something about the connection between the brain and your hand when it's writing. So your thoughts are being transferred onto paper from your brain to your pen to your hand, and you're getting it out of your head, but you're also reading as you're writing. And putting pen to paper, you are 100% present, which is what we want. Whereas if you're doing this on a computer, you can be writing something and then, if you're a typist especially, you can be writing something and then thinking about what you're having for dinner later on. We don't want that. Pen and paper makes you slow down. It really makes you think about things as you're writing it. So I want you to dig deep. Dig really deep. Be totally, ruthlessly honest with yourself when you're writing. Now, just keep free-flowing writing. Don't think about grammar or if anybody else is going to read it, because you've got to make sure nobody is. If you're going to keep these, if you want to keep these as record, then make sure you have somewhere safe to put them. Or if you don't want to keep them, then you can tear them up so nobody's going to see what you've actually written. So you're going to write the story of it, as I say, of the event, what happened, who was involved, and then how it made you feel at the time, how it makes you feel now, how you feel about that now when you think about it. All of those things. Does it upset you? Does it make you angry? What are the emotions that you feel? Also, did anything good come from it? Are there any positive emotions linked to this particular thing? Did someone come to help you, or was there someone there you relied on? But when you're talking about a particular aspect of the event, dig deep for your feelings. It's an emotional cleansing we want. So you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be honest with yourself and write fully. Now, as I've said here, do not do this if you think doing it, if it's such a massive trauma and you think it's going to kind of tip you over the edge, as it were, then don't do it. And I would also say don't do it if this was a recent trauma. I think you perhaps need a little bit of distance from it. Other than that, this is what I want you to do. Also, I would say, because you're going to cry if you're anything like me, I think I said recently, at the moment my emotions are here, just here, and I can cry at the drop of the hat. So you're probably going to cry, and of course then you feel sad. It's like when you watch a sad film, isn't it? And you feel down, a little bit down afterwards. You have to give yourself the time to compose yourself and to come through it and to feel better. And to take a few deep breaths and have a coffee after you've done this writing. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why would I want to do that, Christine? Why would I want to revisit something that I'm trying to forget? Well, face it, feel it, forget it. That's what we're talking about. I talk about that little exercise in my own book, Stitch Your Own Silver Linings. Face it, feel it, forget it. That's what you're doing here. Writing about it is actually bringing you to face the event, feeling all the emotions and expressing them, is important in order to help you to forget it, in order to help you bring some sense to it. And yes, although I don't like using the term, some closure. Now let me tell you why you might want to do this. Here are just some of the benefits that are associated with doing this exercise. Helps with post-traumatic stress, anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, grief and loss of any kind, chronic illnesses. It helps people who've had pain and illnesses for a long time, substance abuse, eating disorders, relationship issues, communication skill issues, low self-esteem, reduced physician visits, reduced absenteeism from work, enhanced immune system functions, and of course, increased feelings of well-being, which is what we want. Now, these are proven benefits. Now, as I said, I'm not suggesting this is a cure-all, but it's certainly, if I said to you, take this pill and you could get all of these benefits, then I think you would be right there. It's not going to cost you anything. It's something you can do. I would say, as I say, 20 minutes to write, 10 minutes to compose yourself. And if you do think you're going to be upset afterwards, perhaps have some social support or a member of your family in the house, not in the room while you're writing, but somewhere, so that they can support you when this is finished. If you feel it's going to tip you over the edge, don't do it. So those are the caveats to it. Okay, so you sit down on day one and you start to write the story of your traumatic event. When you've finished writing, ask yourself these questions on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not at all and 10 being very much so. Ask yourself, to what degree did you actually express your deepest feelings? Because, it's very difficult to do sometimes. We don't always dig deep and really be honest about how we're feeling. And then again, from 1 to 10, to what degree do you now feel upset or sad? It's perfectly normal to feel sad. To what degree was today's writing meaningful for you? What did you get from it? And to what degree do you currently feel happy, which may feel like a strange one. Let's say you could say contented or more contented. Ask yourself those questions. Now, when I say it's perfectly normal to feel upset and to feel sad, because you are reliving something, and you are writing about your deepest emotions, crying is a way of expressing your sadness, isn't it? And so it's a normal thing for that to happen. Okay, so you've done that on day 1 and you've asked yourself those questions. Do exactly the same on day 2. Exactly the same on day 3. Now, if you feel, well, I wrote about this yesterday, write about it from a different perspective. Write about whether you were angry, whether you were, some things you could have done better or things someone else could have done better. Include all of those things. You can think about different ways to tell the story of what actually happened to you. And don't worry about, you might even swear or curse or whatever. That's okay too, because only you are going to read it. And then, as I say, if you wish, you can tear it up afterwards. And knowing that gives you safety and freedom to write about absolutely your deepest feelings without worrying that anyone's going to read it. Okay, then leave it. So even if you are going to keep the record of what you've written, close your diary, put it away for a week and don't look at it again. Come back to it a week later and then answer these questions in your diary. What did you find the most challenging about doing the writing? Did that process decrease the avoidance that you felt? Do you now feel you can stop doing that, avoiding? You've faced it and felt it and the emotions aren't that strong anymore. Do you see this traumatic event differently now that you've done the exercise? And is your character different? So this means, do you feel stronger for having done it? Do you feel now that you can get some positivity from it, some post-traumatic growth from it? Write about all of those things. Now, if you feel, I'm going to leave a link to this book down below, and there's another one he did. There's also an article that's interesting about story writing, but I think he covers much of that in here. I think this is the 3rd edition of this book. This is the original guy, James Pennebaker. I'll leave a link down below, and a more recent book. If you feel you do this exercise, it hasn't helped you at all, buy the book and go through this book, because he continues with more exercises in greater depth if you feel that didn't help you. In the main, it does, if it's going to help, it does help you, and it certainly helped me with traumatic experiences. You know, things from the past that I think, why do I keep thinking about that? Let's be rid of it. And what I've found is, when I get to, let's say, day 3 and I've been writing, I think, oh, I'm over this now. I don't want to keep writing about this anymore. Fair enough, job done. It's done its job. That beach ball is not going to be bouncing up anymore, because I've faced it, felt it, and forgot it. Now, your brain likes this, you know, problem, solution, brain relaxes. The brain likes it when you make a decision and it's done. What we don't like is this constant, it's there, and every now and then it comes to slap you in the face, and it stops you from living the life you want to live. It's this process of getting, as I've said to you before, of getting your thoughts out of your head, down on paper. It helps you to make sense, or more sense, of what happened. It helps you to see things retrospectively, possibly differently than you thought about before. And it gives you a sense of peace of mind. So I'll leave the links to the books down below, as I say, if you feel they don't help. And please try this exercise. Like I say, even if you're struggling with, I don't know, a problem at work, let's say, writing about that, it gives you different perspectives at looking at things, and light bulb moments all the time about it. And then it leaves you with this, right, I can do this now. This is what I'm going to do next. Okay, I know I've given you a lot there. Go back over the video if you like to watch it again, so that you're sure of what you're doing. Give yourself half an hour. So obviously you've got to plan that. Am I free for half an hour each day for 4 days in the next week? Can I have someone there should I need them? Am I going to keep the records somewhere safe? Or am I going to throw them away? Be gentle with yourself. It is challenging, and take care when you're doing it. But keep in mind, you are working towards your own peace of mind, towards your own personal growth, possibly post-traumatic growth. That's why you're doing this exercise. Good luck with it. Let me know in the comments box. And please, if this has helped you at all, give me a thumbs up. And leave comments. I love to hear from you. And especially, I'd love to hear your experience if you do the exercise. Okay, I'll see you next time. Until then, remember that on Happy Stuff and Fluff, we are getting happy, living longer, and growing younger. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.